Aloha everybody, it's Maddie Mae Larson and I'm back at you with another Upcycle Hawaii video blog. Right now, my parents are out of town. I'm house sitting for them right now in one of my favorite places of the world, the south point of the Big Island of Hawaii. Many of you may or may not be familiar with the fact that I do a lot of beach cleanup work with Hawaii Wildlife Fund. And this is the area where we see the majority of marine debris accumulation actually for our entire island. Because of the uniqueness of the ocean currents, the localized currents, and the makeup of our reefs, the areas that you see behind me here actually act as kind of a rake and grab a large amount of the marine debris that we see. And over 90% of the debris collected on Hawaii Island is right from these coastlines about 9 miles away from where I am here. And because I'm down here in a place where I store my marine debris, I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk to you guys about what we see and really about where away is. You know, we all talk about throwing things away, and for a lot of us, that's kind of where the thought process stops. We throw something into a trash can and we don't think that it's going to end up washing up on a distant shoreline somewhere like this. In addition, getting to these places, down to these coastlines, requires really high clearance 4x4s and the ability to sustain a long, bumpy ride. So it's not something for the faint of heart. And obviously, the things that we see washing up on shoreline aren't coming from localized areas. I'm going to put on my gloves here to protect myself from some of the accumulation that builds up on the outside of these plastics, and because they tend to be sharp. But I wanted to show you some of the things that we see washing up on shore here. We kind of take an overview. You can see what look like laundry baskets here. And these are probably more likely from fishing boats or the aquaculture industry. Really handy to have laundry type baskets out there on the ocean, things that the water can flow through. I want to pick up this one and kind of show it to you here a little bit more closely, hoping that you may be able to see some of these goosenecks on here. These are like bivalves, similar to like oysters or clams, that hitch a ride on these plastics. And it's kind of proof that they've been out here so long that they have been able to have organisms and ecosystems grow on them. So what I had recently hanging off of those baskets here, and some of you, most of you will probably recognize these. And yes, they are what you think they are. They are indeed handles from umbrellas. I have all white today, but we see them in lots of different colors. And actually, there's an artist in Canada who we send things like this to. For those of you that are from the same dinosaur age that I am, you'll recognize this, and you may be able to see the text. This says VC or video cassette. So indeed, this is from a VHS. And this might have had the insert in it that told us what movie it was. Obviously, because it's marine debris, we see a lot of buoys. I try to collect those that are intact. So as you see here, this is a nice hard one. I'm going to go ahead and click on the outside there for you. I have a teeny, weeny, little cute one that's intact. Can't wait to do some art project with that later. And then we have a foam buoy out of view here. And so you can see this is a totally different size. It's not hard and rigid, and it actually still has some hardware attached here. As you can imagine, we see buoys in lots of different shapes and sizes. Now, something we were seeing washing up in lots of quantities for a while there were hard hats. I actually wish I would have kept more because I'd have quite the collection. And what we don't think about when we think about marine debris and ocean plastic pollution is debris that was never actually used, is not post-consumer, because it may have fallen off of a container ship. And quite often, or more often than we'd like to think, these things fall off of containers, and then whole containers of helmets fall into the ocean and open up. And then we'll see massive quantities of specific items come on shore for periods of time that likely were never used as a direct result of container ship spills. Kind of a fun, freaky find here. The doll whose literally head was on a stick in the sand. Who knows the story behind that? We see a lot of branded stuff. So here's a big culprit, Nestle. You can see Nestle on here. Hopefully you can see. Sorry if you can't. This one's a little ironic, Chevron. So it's not only oil that they're putting into our water bottles or water bodies, my apologies. And then here you see, this one's a kind of fun, the Goodyear logo on a toy truck tire. So yeah, I'm not sure if that was promotional or from a toy, but Goodyear plastic toy truck. Lots of hygiene items. So you can see I've got a handful of combs here and a handful of toothbrushes here. I have yet to see a fish use a comb or a toothbrush, but apparently there's plenty in the ocean for them to make use of. Of course, your quote-unquote disposable razor. So when you throw a razor away, it may actually end up on a distant shoreline like the one behind me here. Now, a sad thing that we see a lot of, which is very prevalent, these ocean plastics, and I'm once again hoping you can see this, these plastics have very obviously been sampled or bitten by fish and or birds. Fish are not aware that material that's being put into their food stream is not natural. And the only way for them to find out is to eat it. And in some cases, that's too late to find out something. We don't want to find out something's poisonous after we eat it, right? We'd prefer to know that beforehand. So there are some fish-bitten plastics. A hanger. This is a pretty decent one, so I'm going to keep that after I wash it up. Here's something I'd like to talk about, and this is what's called a plastic agglomerate. Growing up in Hawaii, we were only ever taught that there was one rock here, basalt lava rock. However, due to the lighting of fire of marine debris on coastlines like this, geologists have decided that we have created a new rock known as plastic agglomerate. And this may not look like a rock from this side, but let me flip it over. And you can see on this side, it's totally discernible from a piece of lava at the beach. Flip it back over and you can see what it really is microplastics, rope, bottle caps, rope, piece of a buoy. I think I saw a couple other things in here that were identifiable, but this is a result of humans lighting marine debris on fire. It melds to the natural environment. It creates a material that is both not recyclable and something that will outlive the humans, outlive us and our bones and our hair and our teeth. So it's really important that we start to rethink the way that we're consuming, and we try to rethink the idea of throwing something away, because for me, away happens to just be my backyard. And so I don't want to leave you guys on a doom and gloom note. I want you all to know that I am still very hopeful that we all have the ability to make some very positive change. And I hope we can take away from this the fact that humans have the ability to make some real big global impact. And I'd like for us to choose to make our global impact on a more positive scale than something like this. Mahalo for your time. And until I see you guys again, most likely in the studio in 2 weeks, hui ho.